What's up, everyone? Welcome to our live chat. I'm here with the Big Keith. What up?
What up? What's going on?
I'm ready.
Yeah, let's do this.
What are we doing?
So, first of all, we got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. As you can see, we got some food. I'm hungry right now, and I'd like to have some of this right now. But we got some portion control stuff to talk about.
That is great.
But before we do that, make sure you put your questions into. I think the thing is over here. It's over here, right? Anyhow, type in your questions so that we can get your questions, and in the later half of the show, we'll take your questions.
Yes.
So we'll begin to talk about portion control, and as it relates to kind of like, in the real world. So like, we're not always.
You mean to tell me you don't take this with you everywhere you go?
I try to.
Kidding.
I try to, but
it happens. You don't always have it with you.
happens. Exactly.
Right.
So sometimes you're just kind of caught out there, right?
Yes.
And you don't have your containers, and you kind of have to really like pull it together, like and just kind of makeshift and like choose from like the cleanest of the dirties. I like to call it, like to just kind of clean.
I like it.
So anyhow, we have some food here, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about. This is kind of like your regular, like, fast casual dining. So, like, this is, like, good food.
Yeah, the healthier option of fast food. This is one of the healthier options that you would get, right?
And
pull
so,
this in?
Yeah. So, we're going to break it down and talk about... Oh, let me open this up.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that looks so wonderful.
You might recognize the containers. Don't worry about it.
It's all good.
So, like, if you go to one of these places and you ask for, like, a Mexican bowl, right? And this is typically what you would get.
Can you... I'm going to hold it up and pray that it doesn't spill on us.
So this is typically
all
what...
angles. So, first off, I'm going to say already...
It's a lot of food.
It's a lot of food. Even probably for you. Now, the more interesting... Well, you're a big dude. You're not like, I wouldn't be allowed to eat that much in one sitting, but neither would you.
Right.
But just looking at it, I can already tell we're going to come across some issues here, which is exactly what we wanted to point out today. So not only is the serving size altogether probably more than anybody should be eating in one serving, we have it broken down to see exactly what is in here. So let's actually put this off to the side, right? Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Let's talk about it. In that bowl, we made them package it separately for us so we could see really what's in here. So we all know the yellow container counts as your carbs. So rice is a carb, obviously. So I wanna see are you gonna eat out of that bowl?
I'll help you out.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, well, you
I try not to make a mess, but I'm going to a little bit. Okay, so one rice container.
That's almost about right.
Yeah, it's
a
yellow. Yep, poured in because you want to make sure you can get the lid on. Now here's the interesting thing though. That's not the only amount of rice they give you. They also give you white rice. Hold it for me. Let's just see. Make sure they didn't overpack one. Okay, so
yeah, that's about right.
That's about right. Okay, so we already have 2 servings of carbs in here. But then they give you black beans, which is also a carb. It's almost a full another yellow container.
That's about right.
It's about right.
Yeah.
So now we're at 3 carbs in one meal. That's actually most people's amount of carbs for the day.
Wow.
Well, yeah, right?
Wow, that's crazy.
For me, that would be all I would get for the day in terms of my yellows.
Wow.
That would be
so in this one meal that you would have,
right,
you would get a day's worth of carbs. That's
right.
Crazy.
And if you know me, you know I've already eaten carbs for breakfast. So then, okay, so that's our yellows. I think that's all the yellows they've given us. Let's look at our protein. Shredded chicken. It's not even enough to fill up a red container. Like we could probably have a little
more
in there. So it's not even one whole protein container.
Wow.
Which is a little disappointing, obviously, because...
So in that dish... Even with the beans, you're still not getting like your like a proper serving.
Even
of protein.
one serving of protein, right?
Wow.
So and that's it. That's the only protein that's in there. And then, oh, this is where it gets good. Most people get one blue container. I think everybody gets one blue container. Will you hold that over the bowl for me?
Yeah.
That, yeah. So let's see. I just want to see. So cheese obviously counts as a blue. Okay, so, all right, it's one whole blue, but they also give you guacamole, which is avocado, which would also go in that blue.
Nah, this ain't going in there.
I mean, okay, hold on. So,
like, so 2 spoons.
So 2 spoons is gonna go ahead, and then there's probably another blue left in here still.
Wow.
At least.
Wow.
Which means now you'd have 3 blues in your days. So you've overdone it on your healthy fats, right?
And not only that, I promise you that, like, they have a big spoon that they're like, so when they're scooping up this stuff, they have like a huge spoon.
Right.
And so like this isn't even like the same amount of guacamole you would get if you were to go in. So it's
Right,
probably
they'd
not
probably
the
just
same
like,
amount.
"Bah."
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, so they gave us, this is funny,
Right.
took like 5 containers to get
To get one container of
one
greens,
container of greens.
which we're
and-
probably not getting enough of, right?
Well, we're gonna see now. Okay, so they definitely gave us, there's 1,
Okay.
so that makes me happy. And there's actually still 2 more containers here. Might be the only thing where I'm happy with it. And then I'm assuming these are sauteed veggies,
Yep.
onions and peppers. So we'll add that in there because lettuce packs down. So there are 2 servings of veggies in there, so that's good. I can tell you that those veggies are probably cooked in a little bit of oil. And then there's like 3 different salsas here. Now here's the thing. This salsa, I'm gonna assume this is
It's like a pico.
A pico. So this is basically just tomatoes. That's a freebie, so
Mhm.
we can throw that on there. Have at it with your tomatoes. It's really just a veggie. However, these 2 salsas, I don't really know what's in them. There could be oil in here. I don't really know.
Looks like it.
It looks like there's oil sitting on top of both of these.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, way more than 1 orange container for a day.
Wow.
So basically, the point we're trying to show is even when you take your healthy option, you still really need to be aware of your portion sizes and what is all in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you got 2 servings of veggies. That's great. You fell shy on the protein. We have 3 servings of carbs in there, like we said. 3 servings of healthy fats. The blues, that's too many. It's a lot for 1 meal. So again, it's just pointing out, even when you're making your healthy choices, when you're eating on the run, you need to cut that in half, except for the protein.
So in general, why is portion control important? Just in general.
Unfortunately, the way our culture has started to evolve is everything is supersize this and giant portion size that. And you start to stretch your stomach out, which means it takes more food to fill you up, which we've talked about quite a few times.
Mm-hmm.
So if your stomach is this size and you fit all of that in there, now your stomach is this size and you need more to go in there to even be satisfied, and then you start to overeat, you get more calories in your day, and that's where the weight starts to pack on. And again, just same thing, making sure you're getting the right amount of nutrients in your day, spread out throughout the day. I know so many people that are like, oh yeah, I don't eat till dinner, and then they eat like 1 massive meal.
Right.
That's a horrible way to do it.
Right.
You're really messing with your metabolism that way.
Right.
I mean, there's no food all day long, and then you just pack it all in and then go to bed. Yikes.
How many calories do you think that is? I mean, just, neither one of us are like nutritionists or anything like that, but I mean,
Not.
just an idea, like, so if I ate that, like, how much?
I'm doing numbers.
Just a guess.
If I had to guess, am I counting like if all that guac was
All
on
that
there
stuff.
and all that stuff on there?
All that stuff.
I gotta say you're somewhere between 12 and 1,300 calories.
And that's 1 meal. 1 meal. If you're at 1,300 calories, that's half of what I'm supposed to eat in a day.
Right. It's about 400 calories shy of what I would eat for a day.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
And I probably eat more than the average woman my size.
Right.
Because of how
Because you
active
work
I am.
out, right.
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 But yeah, I mean, for some people, that would be their calorie intake for the day.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
so-
nuts.
But
So
you can make that same thing at home and be, you do 1 serving of rice, 1 serving of blue. You can keep your 2 servings of veggies in there, get a full serving of protein in there, and then just use like your pico de gallo on there.
Sure.
And maybe use 1 of your orange containers if you wanted to do like a little bit of a dressing or something. And then you still have a great healthy option, but you don't have all that extra.
talk about like how like the portion control, the portion sizes have changed like over the years. Like even when I was a kid, Like, first of all, there was no supersize when I was a kid. Like,
you went.
We wished there was a supersize.
Yeah, you like drove through and you got your cheeseburger and your fries, and they were one size and it was small, right?
And that was it.
And that was it.
Right. You didn't really have any more options.
And now there's like, you know, quadruple patty burgers with like 8 layers of cheese and onion rings and a fried egg on top and like.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Like it makes me sick to think about that.
I grew up in the Midwest, and
I did too.
And so like the Midwesterners love their meat.
Yes.
And so like I promise you, I kid you not, at a fast food place, I'm not naming any places, but like there was like a double quarter pounder like burger, like which is like insane because first of all like the quarter pounder is so big in itself.
And it was like double that size.
Yeah. And now it's like and double that size and like it's 2 different patties. What? Who's eating that?
Who's eating? And don't get me wrong.
There's a lot of people eating.
There's a lot of people eating that, which is the problem.
I did. So.
I enjoy protein.
Right.
I eat a lot of protein in a day, but you have to know how to portion it out throughout the day. You know, like you can eat a lot throughout the day. You can eat it at several meals. You need to be making the right choices, and it shouldn't really all be red meat. But again, spreading it out throughout the day so it's smaller servings more often keeps the metabolism just revved up and burning, which is so much more efficient for being healthy and fueling your body and losing weight, which is, you know, a lot of people's goals.
So the whole idea behind you developing these containers, and these are brilliant, by the way.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
It was like my one moment in time, but it worked, so I'm happy.
But the whole point of this is like so we can like learn healthy habits and like it's the whole meaning behind it is to really just
retrain your brain. That's really what I want people to do is retrain the way you look at food and the way you look at sizes of food. And so that eventually you're not, you know, you don't have to walk around with these with you. You know, the one thing I always tell people is, yes, I wanted these to be able to go with us, you know, on the go. Like if you're somebody who has to pack your lunch, which I do. I mean, I've got a cooler sitting over there with 4 meals in it right now. But you know, you don't always want to take these with you everywhere. But so what I say is, you know, when you're making a meal at home and you are first starting off with the 21-day fix and using the containers, put the food in the container, but then dump it onto a plate. It's different visually when you see it in here compared to when you see it on a plate. Because I know everybody's reaction to these containers are, that's so small, I'm going to be starving.
Right.
And then you put it on a plate and you're like, oh, it's not so bad. I mean, the first thing Montel said to me when we were shooting the infomercial was like, "Whoa, those are really small," and I was like, "Don't be fooled. It's deceivingly big, actually."
Yeah, this is an example of that. Like, that's a lot of freaking food.
That's a
right
lot of food.
A lot of food.
A lot of food. But you saw, like, the one serving of rice is still a decent serving of rice. You're gonna be full. Like, you don't need to layer it all in there.
Pack it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we kind of have to like get away from this misconception that we have to have like big portions.
Right.
You know, and I think when we go to restaurants, and that's something else I want you to talk about, like how we can like kind of control ourselves when we go to restaurants, because they bring you like these massive meals, like these massive plates.
So there's a few things I've kind of had to start doing just for my own sanity when I go to restaurants. Is first of all, if you're at a healthier restaurant or a restaurant that has a little bit nicer of an option, you can order off the appetizer menu. Now, a lot of times you can't do that because sometimes the appetizers are just
as bad.
They're almost worse. Like sometimes it's like potato skins and like, you know, fried this and that. So that's not always an option. But if they have healthier options, it's good to order off the appetizers because they're going to be smaller portions. If you don't do that, then the other thing I say is, you know, obviously when you look at the menu, pick what you want, pick the healthy option, and if it comes out and you look at it and see that it's this huge serving size, one, you don't have to eat it all. Ask for a to-go container. You can ask for a to-go container as soon as they bring you the food if you want, if that helps you from not eating all of it, because some people, if it's in front of them, they'll just eat it all because it's in front of them. So if you get the to-go container and you split it in half and put half in there and just put it in a bag, one, you've got a meal for later, and that's fine. Or, you know, you eat half and you ask for it at the end, and that's fine too, and you put it to the side. But it's really funny, like, I have a 5-year-old, so I know you don't have kids yet, but at a certain age, we lose our ability to recognize, like, okay, I'm full, I don't need to eat anymore. Like, my 5-year-old, I don't care what I put in front of him. If he could have a gallon of ice cream in front of him, when he's done, like when he's eaten enough, he knows he's done. And he's like, I don't want any more.
Oh, that's great.
And he'll put it aside. Me, I'd sit there and eat the whole gallon, let's be honest. If it's in front of me and I'm eating from a spoon, I'm going for it. Which is why I don't do it.
Right.
But around like somewhere between the age of 8 and 10, we lose that ability and we start eating for pleasure. So even though we're full, we're like, ooh, that tastes really good. And I'm going to keep going. And that's the habit I really want people to start breaking, is to, breathe when you're eating. Do you ever notice, like, if you're on a date, you never eat as much.
Never eat as much.
First of all, because you're not going to be like, mama.
Right.
But you're also talking in between.
Right.
And when you have those pauses, you slow down and you recognize that you're full.
Yeah, it's very good.
Either you recognize you're full or you just, you don't want to look like a heifer.
Right.
Either way.
Always eat like you're on a date, right?
Eat like you're on a date. There you go. That's my best tip for the day.
So what if I'm out and like, are there any tips, like, that I can use if I don't have the containers and I haven't quite memorized, like, the amounts that I should have? Like, is there a way, like, with my hand or something, like, I can kind of, I don't know, like, I always got these with me.
You
so, like,
can. You got, like, monster hands, though, so.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Like, if a piece of protein is supposed to be like
yes, should technically be the size of your hand. But again, it's going to depend on how they cut it and that sort of thing. Yes, but you can kind of try to eyeball it that way a little bit. The best way, like I said, is to, when you're making stuff, put it on your plate and just see what it looks like, so that you know on your plate, like, size-wise, what it takes up. I know another great trick for while you're learning these is, not everybody, like, knows carb, protein, that sort of thing, starch. They get confused by those words. So, like, your purple, this is fruit. Everything that goes in purple is fruit. Everything that goes in green is vegetables. Your red is your protein, so that's things like steak, chicken, eggs, fish, turkey. Your orange is oils and dressings and seeds. The blue is healthy fats, so like your dairies, your cheese, avocado, nuts, like whole nuts, almonds, cashews, that sort of thing. Your yellow is your starchy carbohydrates, so that's like your rice and your potatoes, your beans. There's obviously, we say you're not going to shove a piece of bread in there, but one slice of bread is equal to one yellow container. So knowing what each container is, you could write on there with a Sharpie. I've seen a lot of people do it.
That's what I would need to do.
With a Sharpie, what it is, and then it helps them learn it faster.
Cool. Cool. All right.
What else you got for me?
What else we got?
What else you want to know about?
Eating mindfully, so that smaller portions feel more satisfying. What are some tips, some things that we can do to just kind of like, you take away like the distractions, like, oftentimes I eat with like a TV on.
I was just gonna say, right now, what time is it? It's 2:00 here, 5:30 on the East Coast.
Yeah.
I hope you're not sitting there eating your dinner watching us.
Right.
No, but to that, put the electronics down first and foremost, just because you are mindlessly eating when you're distracted by other things. So if you're sitting there scrolling your iPhone and Instagram, or you're responding to emails or watching TV, you're not really paying attention, one, to your flavor and to your taste, so you're not going to be as satisfied because you're not processing what you're taking in. Two, you tend to overeat a little bit because, again, you're not thinking about, like, oh, my stomach's full. So even if you take 2 or 3 bites more than you normally would, you've still overeaten. And if you do that at every meal, it's going to add up. If you stop 3 bites after when you were actually full, how many more calories did you just take in?
Wow.
If you do that 5 times a day, you've actually probably taken in another meal.
She's smart, man. She's smart. I mean, because you never think about that.
You don't. Like, one more hand in the potato chip bag. How many more did you just eat? Like, how much, like I said, one more spoonful of ice cream. So put the electronics down, breathe. I'm horrible, and I'll be the first to admit it, about, like, inhaling my food. I waited tables my whole life. So you literally, like, ate on the run. Like, you would take, like, a few bites of food and just get back out there and go. And I still have a really bad habit. I have to force myself to, like, sit down and enjoy my food and pay attention to what I'm eating. My son asks me all the time, Mom, why do you eat standing up in the kitchen? Because I make him sit down at the table.
Right.
And then I'm in there, I'm, like, cooking and doing things, and it's bad because I'm not really practicing what I preach. But that's the other, put the fork down in between bites. You don't have to eat like that.
Yeah, man. Oh, man. And I can take down food, like, super quick. So, like, it's important for me.
Pie eating contest is all you.
This dude,
He's
that's
like,
me.
I got it.
That's me. All right, so that's great. I think that's all of the points that I wanted to cover for the portion control.
Okay. Cool.
There's a couple other things that I think where people tend to kind of make mistakes. So like, more peanut butter. Like peanut butter is like.
God, I love me some peanut butter.
Me too. Oh
but
God.
Okay, snacking.
Oh God. I'm joking.
I think snacking in general is one of those things that people real quick can overdo it on, because you eat potato chips out of the bag, or some people will pull the ice cream container out of the refrigerator and eat straight from it. So
right.
Again, putting it in a bowl, being aware of what you're eating, looking at serving sizes on packages, and really reading it. I can't tell you how many times, okay, I'm sorry, Girl Scouts, I'm going to call you out right now.
Uh-oh.
The Girl Scout cookies, which, let's be honest, those things are like addictive beyond belief, okay?
Yes.
How good are Samoas? The chocolate with the coconut and the just goodness in a cookie. Okay.
Mouth watering.
Like, two cookies is like 400 or 500 calories.
That's ridiculous.
So think about it, and they're not very big.
Right.
So you like eat 1, you eat 2, you eat 3, you eat 4, and all of a sudden you're at like 800 calories for 4 cookies.
Wow.
So just again, reading the package, being aware. Sometimes there's I know there's a protein cookie that's served at a gym that I use. And I actually used to get this protein cookie, and I made the mistake of reading the back and going, oh, it's only like 275 calories. That's not so bad. Seriously, did this for like months. I mean, I didn't eat it every day, but I would eat it at least once a week. And then I looked at it and I realized there's 2 servings in that cookie.
Wow.
Oh, so mad.
This is 500 calories.
So it was like 500. I was like, yeah, I was like 550. I was so mad. I was like, oh my God,
That's
who
crazy.
does that?
That's crazy.
So just being aware that just because it says like 1 serving is equal to this many calories, you have to actually look and break that down and be like, oh, but how many servings are in there?
Yeah, and I think that they're trying to like change the way that
Yes.
it's not packaged, but the way that it's worded.
It's worded
because it's a little bit confusing.
it's a little
like you'll see it
deceiving.
but you don't see like the 2 servings, or
Right.
that is 3 servings.
Right.
You just kind of see that general calorie
And
number.
you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I
And
think I'm
you
good. And then
brush right over because you don't want to know.
600 calories later, you're like,
Things like oils, dressings,
Right.
salad dressings. I mean, I know you like the salad soaked in dressing sometimes, but you can't do it. You just waste calories on it. So I like to, I like balsamic vinegar, so that works for me. So I use a little olive oil and a lot of balsamic. Because I do like my salads to have a little bit more dressing on them, just kind of the way I grew up. But instead of like being equal parts oil and vinegar, I try to make it more of the balsamic and less of the olive oil.
And I think the more that like you use this stuff, the more you get used to it. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't like, still not the biggest fan of balsamic, but the more that I eat it, like the more I get used to kind of the flavor, and like I'm starting to find it.
And there's so many
Tasty.
other ones too, though, that it doesn't have to be what I choose. I'm Italian, that's what we use to cook with. But you got to play with it. Sample things. Like, I know sometimes it's hard. You don't want to sample, like, you don't want to waste money if you're not going to like it. But if you can go to a restaurant and maybe try a different oil or vinegar that they have, or a different salad dressing, and you can find one that you do like.
It's a good tip.
Try to find one that you have fun in the kitchen. Mix things up, like lemon juice and different seasonings and stuff, and find the stuff that you like. Look online. There's always great, everybody seems to be talking about healthier recipes this day. Like,
It's true.
pretty much all my Instagram looking at Instagram, I think, just makes me hungry most days now. I'm like, that looks delicious. That looks amazing. Ooh, how did you make those? Okay, note to
There's
self.
a bunch of stuff on Team Beachbody as well, so make sure you go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just playing with recipes and having fun with it, and
Yeah.
finding the things you like and then making note of it, I think is great.
Cool.
What else?
I got
you
a bunch of questions.
questions.
We'll pull up some chairs
Oh,
and take some questions. I'm getting harassed.
this is like
Oh.
a fancy chair.
Can you get it?
Short stuff can barely get up on that chair. All right.
It was made for me.
I know,
obviously.
right? Look at all this mess we got here. Hit me with a question.
All right, question. This one is from Liza. Are there more vegetarian options for the 3-day quick fix?
There's really not, you guys. I wish I had more options. If there were, I'd put them in there. My 3-day quick fix it's based off of a competition prep that I do, and it's based off of protein, because the body uses it and it fuels us and it keeps us full. So I don't have any other options other than what we have listed already.
And I'm sure there's more stuff. People developing recipes.
People
around
people
all the
are
time.
getting very clever. And I will say this, on Facebook, I know there is a group for people who are all vegetarian. You could probably search it in Facebook, like 21 Day Fix Vegetarian, and the group will pull up, because I know that particular group has been working a lot on like just recipes and sharing different things that they've been using and stuff. So that's a great resource.
Where does ketchup, where do you put ketchup? Do you use ketchup? I'm not a big ketchup person.
I'm not a big ketchup fan,
yeah, but
and
like
ketchup does have a lot of sugar. I would either count it as a teaspoon, or I would put it
in one of those.
in one of those.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic question. Where's Ani when you need her?
Yeah, she's around.
She's around.
She's around.
I'll get a definitive answer on that, but I would either count it as a teaspoon or count it as your orange, because ketchup does have a lot of sugar in it.
All right. Next question is from Jennifer. Are salt-free canned peas, carrots, etc. okay? Or do we have to buy them fresh?
No, it's fine. You're better off frozen than canned, because even though the canned are salt-free, usually the frozen ones tend to have more nutrients because they're picked and then frozen right away. So, but no, salt-free in a can is fine.
Cool.
Yes.
Is it okay to use sweet potatoes for both carbs every day?
Absolutely.
Jessica?
Yep. I eat sweet potatoes all day long. Yep.
What is your take on salt? Like, I think Dell is asking, is a little salt okay?
Yeah. You need a little salt.
Yeah.
I mean, we need a little salt in our diet. That's normal, because it helps us hold water in that sort of thing. And I don't mean retain water, but I just mean it keeps us hydrated and that sort of thing. But when you start to overdo salt, that's where it becomes a problem, because blood pressure goes up and that sort of thing, and then you do start just retaining water and getting puffy. You want to know what my test is for if I've had too much water? It's my rubber band.
Oh, interesting.
When I've had too much water and I get puffy, it'll leave a really big indentation on my arm. And when I'm good and I'm not eating a lot of salt, it's looser, so it doesn't leave an indentation. I mean, it's also there to tie my hair up for workouts, but it's I kind of just discovered it once when I was in competition prep, and I noticed, I was like, oh, I don't have that wristband mark anymore because I cut all the salt.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This chick is full of tips.
Tricks, man.
She has it all.
Tricks.
She has it all. All right, we have another question from Kimoy. Okay. How do you adjust your containers when you can't work out for a week? So, like, when you're not working out, like...
If it's 1 week, don't adjust your containers. If you were injured or something and you weren't going to be able to work out for an extensive amount of time, you may or may not have to adjust the containers. But the container system, you guys have to remember, this is developed based on 30 minutes of working out a day. And yes, the 21 Day Fix workouts, they push you in that sort of thing. But even if you're missing a workout, if you're just being active and that sort of thing, this is designed to be a really healthy way of eating. So my bigger advice would be to say, instead of cutting out containers, eat from the top 1/3 of each of your lists so that you're picking the healthiest, cleanest food from each list. That will help more than cutting out actual containers. Yeah.
All right. We got a question from Shivani. And she wants to know, like, what if you're going to a friend's house and they don't have a healthy option? Like, just a pizza party or just a regular party.
It happens, right?
Yeah.
It happens.
What do you do? Any tips?
Yeah. One, it happens sometimes where it's last minute and there's nothing you can do, in which case, if it's a pizza party or something, you know what? You have 1 slice, 2 maximum, but don't sit there and binge on it. Know that you had your cheat, obviously, and just move on. Like, it happens. Like, there's gonna be days where you just don't always eat healthy. Don't beat yourself up for it. Don't be like, oh my God, I was on day 18 and now I gotta start all over again.
Right.
No, you don't. You just acknowledge it and be like, okay, so tomorrow I need to be really clean about it. I need to eat from the top 1/3 of that list. If you know you're going to somebody's house and they're not going to have healthy options, it's a pizza party or something like that, eat before you go so you're not starving.
Right. What I like to do is involve myself in like other stuff. So like other conversations.
Yeah.
So I'm not like around the food or anything. Yeah, I can deal with like watching somebody else eat, like if I'm in a conversation with them.
Right.
Like it just completely takes my mind off of it. Or if they're like games or something like that, get involved in the games, Then that way
if you're going to a friend's house, it's not really polite to show up empty-handed, right? If you're going for a party. So bring a healthy option. Make sure you bring enough for everybody so you don't just bring like your own little salad.
Right.
But like you could make again, if it's a party or something, you know, offer, what can I bring? Oh, I'll bring a fruit tray, or I'll bring a veggie tray, or I'll bring like a really nice salad, or, you know, something like that. So then you have your own option that you know, okay, well, if nothing else, I'll have this.
And, you know, I'm not really sure why people don't get, you know, like, not everybody's gonna support you. And maybe this is a completely, like, different subject, but not everybody's gonna support you. So, like, people almost, like, ridicule you for, like, having your own little thing. Oh, man, how come you're not eating? You know, like, especially they see me and they're like, come on, dude, I know you're hungry. Like, how come you're not eating? You know, so, like, you just kind of have to, like, build yourself up to know that if you're bringing your own food, you have to kind of, like, just build your confidence up to say to yourself, like, okay, I know that somebody's probably going to say something about this. You know, so let me just be strong-minded. So, and just kind of deflect as much as I can so I don't have to deal with.
You're doing it for you. I mean,
Right.
when I was competing, because the first year I competed, I prepped for 4.5 months leading up to competition. I competed, did well, but wanted to do better, and so I went right on to the next competition, which was 6 more weeks later. So it was almost 6 months straight of me being in like a competition prep mode. So there was no alcohol, there was no sugar. And at the beginning, my friends did. They would rag on me all the time. Oh, you know you want it. You know you want it. And so I had to very quickly adjust my mindset and be like, look, that's just them. And that's how they're gonna be. And it's kind of like that tough love thing. And but I knew what my end goal was. And then it kind of finally got to the point where everybody just adjusted to the fact that that's how I ate. And very quickly it was like, you're a designated driver because you're not drinking. And it was like, all right, no, Autumn doesn't want any dessert. I get 2 helpings. And so if you just take the mentality like, okay, this is for me and I'm not going to worry about like, yes, there's always going to be a hater somewhere. But you just, like you said, you just kind of...
Yeah, that's a good point. And your friends will eventually adjust. You know, like, so the first couple times they'll rag on you or whatever, you know. But after a while, they'll realize that this is how you eat and that you got goals. I got goals. So, like, you know, this is how I'm going to eat. Exactly. So, anyhow, more questions. Oh, based on coach questions and requests, we added pico de gallo and tomato sauce to the purple container list. Is
this from Ani?
No, this is from...
Ani said this? Okay, so read it again. Sorry.
Great. Based on coach questions and requests, we have added pico de gallo and tomato sauce to the purple container list.
Good.
Many had been asking, so we found a way to work those foods into the program.
Perfect.
So there you go.
So tomato sauce. So when you guys are asking about pasta sauce, it goes in your purple. And pico de gallo can go in your purple as well. I mean, pico I almost would count as a free food. Like I said, it's just tomatoes and seasoning. But if you're eating that much pico de gallo, woo! You better not be eating it on chips. That's a lot of pico de gallo. So that's my...
Yeah, I like pico de gallo. Probably not this
That's
much.
a lot.
Like, it's a lot.
That's a lot. Pico de gallo. But pasta sauce, I guess I could see on there because I actually like a lot of sauce on my pasta. So there you go.
So this is great. We're out of time. That's our time.
That's our time.
Sorry, folks.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Make sure you follow her and Beachbody on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, all that stuff. And we'll see you next month. See you next month.
Next month. Cool. And we'll see you at Summit.
Summit.
Boom. See you guys there.
All right.
Bye. And...